All right, good morning. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dowell. Myself and Sister Carol, we're sitting here talking, thinking, brainstorming, because the world knows that unarmed black men are a target for the government of this world for some reason here in the United States of America. Donald Trump decided to go after Julius Malema over in South Africa because, everybody knows what's going on in South Africa. I talk about that quite a few times. Over there in South Africa, the Europeans came down hundreds of years ago and raped, robbed, stole, killed, murdered, lynched, sodomized the South African population. And it started, I believe, with the Zulus. And then, of course, Donald Trump and everybody, and of course, I hear that Israeli special forces are going to help the white farmers. And they're all up in arms over, I guess, the exploitation that is taking place. Now, I got to ask a question. There's a law called sowing and reaping. And there's another old saying that says that the chickens are coming home to roost. So, let me get this right. You go to a land that ain't yours, and you cause chaos. You benefit from the chaos for hundreds of years that you cause. And now all of a sudden the tide is beginning to turn and the Africans want their land back. And all of a sudden there's something wrong with that? There's something wrong with that? Let me tell you something. The thing that was, it shall be again. And whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. No matter what people may think. If all the empires of the world were going to last forever, then Egypt will still be standing. The Babylonian Empire will still be standing. The Persian Empire will still be standing. The Greeks will still be standing. The Romans will still be standing. And the British Empire will still be standing. But they're not. They're all done fallen. And you think about this for a second. America has got hell to pay because she has never repented for all of the rape, the robbing, the murder, the killing, the pillaging, the sodomizing, and the insurmountable death toll that they have just, killed over 100 million people, indigenous people of this land. And what? That's not supposed to ever be sowing. Whatsoever man sow, that shall he also reap. I realize that a lot of people don't like talking about subjects like this and don't want to hear it, but it's totally irrelevant. You need to hear it. Both sides of the fence. And the first thing that Julius Malema brought up over there says that Donald Trump has the audacity and the arrogancy to talk about what's going on over here in South Africa when they're killing innocent black men over there in America. And whether America like it or not, it's a black eye on them, period. And so now, and recently in the news, and I hadn't even really thought about it, when I first heard it, to me it sounded like some type of bitter lovers quarrel or something like that. And for this woman, this police officer, this white woman, to sit up there and lie that she didn't know where her apartment was, and then to go in there and then put some rounds in the chest cavity of this black man and kill him in cold blood. And then, of course, all the witnesses are saying that they had a history. And, of course, what's happening in the news media, again, that always happens. It's amazing. Watch this. It's like they just simply cannot stop at the murder, but they have to try to kill the person. Every time you turn around, the news media tries to find something in their past to denigrate them, to make them seem that they were less than a model citizen, and what they're really implying is they had this coming. So they just don't stop with the innocent black people dying on the streets, but what they continue to keep doing is trying to look for things to destroy their reputation, to destroy the person, and they're trying to dig up all kind of history and everything else. But mind you, Donald Trump can grope, cheat on his wife, have sex, grab women, and then grab them and kiss them. That's got to be a gross experience right there in itself. And nothing happens. Nothing is said. Utterly remarkable and amazing. And then Sister Carol had brought up, what did you bring up earlier?
I said that if someone of another race if someone outside of our nationality goes into a school and kills 25 children, then he had a bipolar or had a mental disorder or something like that. So the bias, it's just very biased.
But if they're black.
But if they're black, sad but true, it's just the reality of it all. They'll like you said, denigrate their character. They'll act like they were some type of a thug and that they deserved it or something like that.
Amazing. Now, see, that's coming from our perspective. And I hope the whole world sees this, because I'm a pastor of a multicultural congregation and ministry. It's worldwide. As a matter of fact, we have a family here right now, staying here on our land in our home, which is on the land, from Sweden. They're here from Sweden. And they've been here for a few days already, going to be here to the end of the month. And we got more people coming from outside of the United States of America that's coming here to visit for the Most High's feast days. And it's just utterly remarkable and amazing. And what's amazing to me is that most people, they don't like hearing this conversation, and they don't like being reminded of it. I think that there's a mental defect. There's something really going on, because when you don't want to own the part of the history that is wicked in nature, and you find yourself today on the wrong side of history. You got Tamir Rice, Philando Castile, you got the Gray Man, you got Trayvon Martin. I mean, you can go on and on and on and on. The lady down in Texas gets murdered and jailed, and from Chicago. I mean, you can go on and on and on and on and on. And then the people say, well, when you look at the statistics, they're always trying to justify the police. Always trying to justify the police. And then I had somebody ask me, why do I report on stuff like this? I'll tell you the reason why. In 1980, the Caucasians were 80% of this population. In 2017, they are 67% of this population. Are y'all listening to me? We were 8% of this population in the 80s. We are now 12% of this population. That's not too good for growth. But the Hispanics are knocking on north of 25% of this population. That's not including the others and everybody else. Think about that for a second. And the worry is that, you think about this a second. You know, we got to put a wall up. Well, what's the wall for? Not only is it there to keep people from coming in, but it's to keep people from going out. And the Mexicans, they're snatching up any white woman that they can get, as long as they get a green card. It don't make no difference what they look like or anything. And they have a bunch of babies by them. And of course, those babies are no longer white, they're Mexican. They're brown now. And then all of a sudden, Islamic phobia and stuff. Well, we got to do something about this. You always got to, they have a way, government does, that they try to deal with us wisely. I'm sorry that conversations like this offend a lot of people. It don't offend the white people in the ministry.
Oh, no, absolutely not. And it doesn't make you a racist just because you're speaking the truth.
No.
It's far from that. It's just people should be held accountable for the sins that they commit, no matter what race they are. And the police have to be held accountable for the things that they do as well.
And it's just a reality. America, the chickens are coming home to roost. You're not going to sit up here and treat all the Negroes like that in the transatlantic slave trade. And the indigenous people of this land, which just happen to be the Negroes as well, Christopher Columbus redefined as Indians, even though he never stepped foot on the soil. and not expect for the chickens to come on the roost. Maybe this the generation that's going to feel the wrath of Yah.